Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Today Raid Shadow Legends launched an Elven Summon Pool event out of the blue, and in this video I'm going to take a look at how good is this summon pool. First, thank you Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video and for giving me this wonderful promo link. If you need a new Raid Shadow Legends account, down below in the description there in the QR code, Deacon after tutorial, Uugo at 15, Tagoar at 20, Mausoleum Mage at 30, the best possible start to raid. And then let's take a look at this summon pool. So this summon pool is Elven, so there's High Elves and the Dark Elves, and is focused on this Elven Unity because we have two Elven Unity champions available, the Dark Elf Unity champion Cyclic and the High Elf Unity champion Finna are both part of this pool, and Unity champions are not usually available. They're available in specific events. Sometimes there's like a summon boost event or a progressive chance event so that you can get them from ancient shards, even sacred shards, and sometimes they're available in these prism events. So these are one of the best ways to get those, although obviously with 1% odds, then the odds are not particularly high. Then other legendaries, there's Authorion, by the way, that is a serious champion right there, and Islin, Noct and Lanakis. So the legendary pool is really small with only 6 champions overall. The epic pool is of a more normal size at 12. We have Durandil, we have Illusinia, one of the Mikage fusion champions by the way. We have Neldor, Temila, and Dahlia, another Mikage fusion champion. And speaking of those Mikage fusion champions, it was just announced that there's going to be a guaranteed event where you can pull ancient shards to get some of the Mikage fusion epics. So those are going to happen tomorrow, then on Wednesday and on Thursday. Well, you will see all the details in game. 40 ancient shards to pick up one epic each day, a different epic. But yeah, these are not part of those events, so these are part of this pool. Then Kaiden, so some Dark Elf reviving action there. Skeramis Royal Guard with that max HP swing, so really heavy burn against some bosses. Tyrell and oldie but goldie still bringing lots of debuffs. Crimson Helm, then Vergis one of the champions that is so incredibly hard to kill, obviously alongside Islin, which was in the legendary pool here, and then Visionary. So the overall quality of this pool is fairly high. Getting a superb pool, something that really changes your account, then that obviously is quite difficult. There are 2 in this pool. There's Authorion, wonderful champion against Hydra, for example, just a tremendously good champion. Ayumilav rates it as S tier, and Hell Hades gives it a straight 5. So yeah, that's one strong champion. Then Finna. Ayumilav and Hell Hades do not appreciate these Dark Elf and High Elf faction unit champions that high, but Finna has some pretty serious power with turn meter just increasing and damage increasing, and things just happen when she's in a High Elf team, so I think she is phenomenal. Then there is a group of strong pools. Cyclic, the Dark Elf faction unit champion, is admittedly weaker than Finna, so maybe I wouldn't rate him as high. Then Noct, Lanakis, even Islin. Islin is probably the weakest of these legendary champions, but Islin heals itself based on its defense when it's being attacked. So Islin, when properly built with high stats, it's super hard to kill. Even more harder to kill than Vergis, although Vergis is of course much more accessible. So then there's Neldor for some damage and Royal Guard for the max HP damage, and then Vergis, another champion that is super hard to kill and can try to protect your team. And all of the rest of the epic pool is here as OK pools. There's actually quite a bit of discrepancy between Ayumilav and Hell Hades when it comes to rating these Elven champions. For example, let's take Temila. Ayumilav rates it at tier B, and Hell Hades gives it only 2.5. 2.5 would be something that I would usually categorize as a weak pool, but I mean, Temila is completely fine. There's ally protection, there's increased defense. Nothing too special, but still a reliable protector champion, so nothing particularly wrong with her either. And then something like Durandil, Ayumilav rates that C tier, Hell Hades gives it 3.5. Durandil, a nuker, and can freeze as well, so there's something going, can give himself perfect whale, so it has some upsides going, although of course you could argue that it just doesn't deal enough damage in today's world. And then again, speaking of today's world and comparing to the past, Tyrell, Ayumilav still gives Tyrell S tier, while Hell Hades only gives it a 3.5, so one of the earlier champions in Raid. A very multi-skilled champion that can bring a good variety of debuffs and just the right debuffs for your team, but also something that has probably been power corrupt quite a bit over the years. So, like, can you really rate that S tier anymore? I don't think you can. But so yeah. Anyway, none of these champions are terrible. In today's raid, this group of OK pools probably isn't very high in your list. And okay, I just have to rank up this. I just have to upgrade this champion and get it to 60 and stuff like that. But they can all do their job as well. And indeed, I could not find an obvious weak pool from this pool. I could not find a champion like, I'm never going to use the champion. I'm just not going to do that. Whereas usually there's at least a couple that I just wouldn't touch, even with a 10-foot pole. But this time, there aren't any. So if you want to get some of these champions, you need Prism Crystals. And Prism Crystals, usually there is an event for Prism Crystals, but none have been announced yet so far for this one. Although the in-game text did say that there will be in-game events. I'm just not sure if that's just boilerplate text and if there actually won't be any in-game events. I think that would be a first. Anyway, we haven't had a Prism Crystal event yet, but hopefully there's going to be at least one, so at least one free pool would be available. And other than that, it's the real money shop. So in conclusion, these Prism Crystal, these Summon Pool events typically are fairly good. Each pool is like pulling a curated Sacred Shard, obviously not with a 2x, and €12 price, that's lower than Sacred Shards most of the time. No tournament of Prism Crystals yet, but hopefully there will be at least one, so at least one free pool would be available. The pool of champions is smaller than usual, only 6 legendaries, so this maintains higher average quality. So it's not a bad pool to pull from by any means. It's also a rare opportunity to get one of those faction unit champions because they are only available during various events. On the other hand, there are quite a lot of OK pulls in this pool, so your odds to pick up something really super strong, really account changing, that isn't very high. But especially if you're early on and if there's going to be a free pool, then you're going to get somewhat usable champion at least. So a fairly nice pool overall. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.